But provision is not asked for. Just get vision and the provision will come.
Vision will automatically open doors for provision.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is the biggest thing that you always have to understand. As long as you have the vision, actually all that you can ever get, ask God for.
Vision.
Is the vision. Don't ask God for provision. Ask God for vision. Because once He gives you the vision, then that means you have to get the support. You know everything. Worship of God. You get it? We all know that all creation reflects the glory of God.
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
And everything that has been made by God to worship Him. You get it?
Yes.
So in that, for whatever that God ordains, everything that God ordains, there must be power that follows its impact.
Whatever God created is for His own glory.
That's true.
Everything God created must manifest.
And look here, this is what happened. We get to see that when God was creating, He never used anything that is mechanical. He just said, let there be. He says, let there be light, and there is light. He did not have to go and get a bulb and get wires and switch on the generator to do that. No, God did not do this mechanically.
He just spoke.
Yeah, He just speaks. So it's the same thing. That's why we always take it that when Jesus says yes,
nobody
can get to say no. And once He says yes, then all other forces have to
put bow down and obey.
That's it.
Submit to.
That's why we all know that every knee shall have to bow,
yes,
and every tongue shall have to confess that Jesus is Lord.
If
He's the Master. And actually, when you read John 1:1, it's very clear that without Him there is nothing that was made that was ever made. So that means is the ever-present help
in times of need.
In times of need. So we get to see Him in all that kind of
dimension.
Yes,
He fits. All right, we are kicking straight into our discussion today. Uganda is called to produce and export.
Yes.
Why should we say we are called to produce? Why should we say we are called to export?
Yes.
And yet, to a certain degree, we feel like, if you talk of export, we feel like we have more inputs than we are landlocked and all these kind of things. We are Tanzania and the other countries beat us by far to a certain degree. And when you look carefully into our national anthem, there is love for our neighbors we give. Yes? And then we are seeing this 1972 war between Uganda and Tanzania. And then there is this economic war where the president, during that regime of Idi, where he pushes all the Asians out of the country, giving them 90 days. We need to understand more about this perspective. Why?
Yes.
It's the biggest question.
Okay, thank you so much. Remember what we said. We said that we are 58 years now.
Yes, 58 now.
But it took us 68 years of colonial rule
to gain that independence.
You know, this is something that we are posting and we are putting it right on the table, that people may know what may happen next.
Okay.
Actually, what happened what we get to see that it was after independence. You get it? It took only 10 years. Because all we want to see, we want to look at, we are saying that we are left with 10 years to come to 68 years of colonial rule, because we are just 58. You get it?
Yes.
And so this really makes us to be curious of what could have happened in the first 10 years. Because things are funny. You get it? What happened in the first 10 years may give a reflection of what may happen in the last 10 years.
So the first 10 years of Uganda from 1962.
Yes. There is
the same incident that may happen.
No, we are saying that we need now to closely examine how did the first 10 years run like? Because we are left also with more 10 years. So we need to understand how did things go like in the first 10 years. And we need to see that if Uganda actually got independence in 1962, then that means the first 10 years were in the year 1972.
The first 10 years was
1972. You get it?
That is from 1962 to 1970.
Yes. And remember what we said, that according to the national anthem, in the second stanza, it was clearly mentioned that our love we give to our neighbors. You get it?
Yes.
That is in the national anthem. And that was in agreement. That was actually in agreement with what the scripture teaches us. You get it? Because we get to all understand that the second greatest commandment of the golden rule. We will begin with the golden rule because there is a golden rule,
yes,
which said that do not do to others as you would have them do unto you. You get it?
Yes.
And then we get to see that when you look at the two gospels, that is in the gospel of Matthew 22:39 or Mark 12:3, we get to see that in all this there is a commandment. You get it? We have looked at the golden rule. The golden rule is telling you to do unto others as you have them. Yes. So now the best way that you are able now to do what will favor you is for you to implore love. Because as long as you are imploring love, you are imploring God.
If I pinch myself, I feel the pain, I shouldn't pinch the other.
No way.
That is doing unto others.
You get it?
Yes.
Because now we need to go. Because the best that we can see, what brings salvation on the world is love.
Yes.
Because if you are to read John 3:16, what does it say? It says, for God so loved the world,
yes,
that he gave his only. So we get to see that because of what may lack in the world, you get it?
Yes.
Because there is lack in the world. I think that's why even when we get to pray, how do we pray? We say that thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So there is a deficit on earth. So because there is a deficit on earth, there is need. There is need for acquiring, getting what is missing from the spiritual realm. And that's why we say that the truth of the matter is that whatever that manifests in the physical begins in the spiritual. Okay. You're getting that idea? So it is out of that when we get to see the scripture clearly and what is adapted right in the national anthem, we get to see that this was more of the golden rule that was being put in the national anthem. Doing unto others
what you expect them to do unto you.
Yes. So what will we say? We say our love we give to our neighbors. You get it? But then, because of what happened, there was a violation of the national anthem in 1972. And what was the cause? Actually, what happened? In the first cluster of independence, there was solid friendship between the two economic states. That is Tanzania and Uganda.
Okay.
You get it? You know, if you look at Uganda, it is too small. I think it may be even a tenth
of Tanzania.
It's too small compared to Tanzania. And remember that when we were looking critically to understand, one of the most ancient nations in Africa is that land. They have lived for more than 2 billion years. That's according to what has been written. You get it? Yes, that existence of that land is too ancient. You get it? So it is out of that actually with what happened, there was a precipitating deterioration of relationship with the neighboring Tanzania. And this was on top, the two presidents. We had Idi Amin in Uganda, and then we had Julius Nyerere
in Tanzania.
But Nyerere had been a close tie to Dr. Apple Milton Obote,
the previous president.
Yes, they had been friends. So when there was a coup, remember, actually it is so funny that the Ugandan coup, I think it was one of the first ever to be heard of in the after-colonial states.
Okay.
You get it? So it was ambiguous. It was uncalled for.
So Uganda was the first country to misbehave.
I think after receiving power. You get it? Ruto could say Ugandans were the first people to misbehave. You get it?
Yes.
So, because of that which happened, Julius felt bad. And he said, I'm not going to recognize that state.
I don't recognize Uganda as a state.
Yeah, I don't. And actually, he closed the diplomatic ties between the two countries. So he said, no, I don't. He did not honor. He did not accept the coup. And what did he do? He now, the president that had been hosted, and all the exiles, he gave them room into his country.
Gave them a place of hiding.
Yes, he told them, come and live with us.
So that did not go well with the current president.
Of course, the relationship between both of them. And actually, when they were there, again, they reorganized and they wanted to invade the country. So in 1971, we get to see that Idi Amin had taken power following a military coup that overthrew the then president of Uganda, and that precipitating a deterioration of relations with the neighboring Tanzania president, Julius Nyerere, who had been a close tie to Obote and had supported his socialist orientation. You get it? So, what happened? Nyerere withheld the diplomatic recognition of a new government of Idi Amin and offered asylum to Obote and his supporters.
So the asylum that Nyerere is offering these guys, Obote and his team, doesn't go well with Amin.
Of course, because now it not only end there, but what happened that in 1972, Ugandan exiles organized a small army of guerrillas and attempted to unsuccessfully to invade Uganda and remove Idi Amin in 1972. Can you see there was war?
That is now Uganda and Ugandans and Tanzanians.
Yes,
joining the force.
No, it is not first. It was not first. Uganda and Tanzania joined.
It was first Uganda.
In 1972.
Okay.
Remember, Uganda, Tanzania, and Uganda. I mean the exilees. Those ones joined in 1978. That was there. But here, we get to see that as early as 1972, just 10 years of independence, we are having a guerrilla movement. Guerrilla.
We don't want
the
to know.
exilees, they have a small army, they attempt to come and invade the government. You get it? And what happened? So, when they came and unsuccessfully tried to invade Uganda and remove Idi Amin, so what happened? Amin now turns the blame the president.
On Nyerere.
Yes. He said, you must be the person that is backing
up. The one influencing.
And the other is, now, can you imagine? We need to look at this now. Can you imagine? These had been Ugandans' fight. Okay. You get it? And yet we all know. You know, politicians, they have a common saying. What they say that there is no permanent friends and no permanent enemy. But you know now, the man was so much pissed off and he said, these are enemies, but you know these are Ugandans that had gone out of their country. You get it? And I think that must also, we need also to be a bit liberal. You get it? But you know, once people are in power, they forget.
They forget about everyone else.
Because actually, when you're in power, you're in a better position. You get it?
You have a better...
I would expect you to... Because you are in a better position to use all avenues to win over the other person. Because he's in need. Actually, they fight and he's fighting just because he doesn't have bread, because he doesn't have a house, and because he doesn't have relatives. He's desperate now. He can't come to his land.
Desperation jumps in.
You get it?
Yes.
So, it was here that then the then president, he blames for backing backing them and arming his enemies and retaliating. Now the retaliation is what we want to say was a total mayhem of the national anthem. Because how did the president react? Because these were two reactions. You're going to see the two. Our president then, you get it? How did he react? He went and bombed all the border towns of Tanzania. Just bombing them up. He blew up them. He broke their industries.
That is angry.
Yeah, last night I was one of the soldiers who was there.
During a ministry.
Yes, so he told me, you know, when they bombed one, I think one industry was making kettles and saucepans and so, and there was a lot of looting.
I think
you can't steal from your neighbor.
There was a lot of looting in a ministry.
Yeah, that is 1972, just 10 years. Can you imagine? If you're 10 years, you're not even under puberty stage, I'm sure.
You have not reached
there are no signs of maturity in you. But you know, we're just 10.
You're just starting.
Same Uganda at 10. We are seeing them. They are robbing, they are looting, they are invading. You get it? There are Ugandans out there, they are fighting to come back in. Are you seeing that kind of adult that was there? So, this is what happened. And that was a contradiction of our national anthem.
And even the motto.
Because in the national anthem, it's very clear in the second stanza.
Yes.
And what we confess, we say our love
we give
to our neighbors, we give. Our love to our neighbors, we give.
India men gave them hatred.
To him, bombs.
Swallow those words.
You get it?
The first person everybody is
and it may surprise you. Maybe the Ugandans by that time that shouted, yeah! Uganda is great. But this was a breach of the national anthem. Because it was very clear in the national anthem. What did we say? Our love, our neighbors, we give. You get it? And it is out of this, because according to the Bible verse, it's very clear. And Jesus had labored on this. Because if this had taken place before the coming of Jesus, then would excuse them.
They're acting out of ignorance.
Yes. But remember, this is 1972. Actually, by 1972, religion had come here in 1884, 1886. 1886.
The days of the Dr. Livingstone.
Yes, the Bible had already been here.
The missionaries.
Yes, you get it? Yeah? And they had celebrated 100 years in 1976, I think.
Those are the missionaries.
That is the 100 years.
Of what? The missionaries ended in Uganda?
Yes. So
you
now, here we are seeing that was just for, because 1972, it was only left with 4 years. So we were in 90 years plus, 96 years.
To celebrate religion.
Where the Bible had been here, people had been taught of. You get it? Yes. But now, these people had not put an emphasis on what Jesus himself had taught.
I mean, they did not want to know.
You get it?
Yes.
Because we get to see that these were the real words in the Gospel of Matthew 22, 37, 39. We get to see it is Jesus himself that comes up now to teach. Actually, when he was teaching that, it was in reaction to the lawyer. The man of law that comes and asks him now, we need to know which is the greatest commandment.
Those are the Pharisees and the scribes.
Yes. But in it, what did he say?
The gentlemen of the Jews.
He reveals out and he said, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. And this is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So we are saying, in the national anthem in the second stanza, it is one other way that we were putting into application the golden rule. Okay. And what is the golden rule like? Our love to our neighbors, we do give. But we get to see that as early as 1972, what had gone? We misfired. Instead of giving love, we gave bombs. And remember, Paul. Now we are looking at Apostle Paul.
Yes.
Apostle Paul on two accounts.
In his writings.
Yes. He writes the Galatians, and what did he tell the Galatians? In Galatians 6:7, he said that God cannot be mocked. For a man soweth what he reapeth what he has sown. So if we have sown bombs, what happened in 1979? We began in 1972.
Yes, we
had to sow bombs, and what happened?
We started reaping.
Actually, could you imagine? In 19, they used what they call saba.
Saba. We hear it, but it was very dangerous.
People would even sing songs.
Saba was not reported.
Do you know many abortions took place because of the saba?
Like miscarriages.
Miscarriages. Not only in human beings, but in cows, in pigs. Eggs will not hatch. And these are terrorists we are fired on this land, the part of Africa.
Saba.
Can you
So
imagine?
the destruction of Uganda started way in the period of 10 years after independence.
No, we are depicting what is right, written in the scriptures. You get it? Paul had to teach the Galatians, and what did he tell? Do not be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is the basic concept.
We ripped bombs, we ripped
So, in 1972, what happened?
We were sowing a lot of...
What did we sow at the border towns of Tanzania? Bombs. And what happened in 1979? Saba.
There was a backfire. Saba invaded the land of Uganda.
You get it?
Part of Africa.
Saba. 77. 77 are now to come in here.
7.
Saba.
You remind me of the previous program.
You get it? So, that is on one account. Then, he had also told the Corinthians, in 2 Corinthians 9:6, he said, but this I say, he which soweth. Now, this one will apply this in the second concept, in the third stanza. You get it? But on account of love, we are looking at this, the Galatians, the letter the Galatians. I think this is something that we are not. And at times I think, you remember what we said, that one of the blames that we could ever put to Lazarus at the gate is because he never spoke to the rich man. So this is the same thing. I think we could blame the religious fraternity of not talking to the leaders.
For being silent.
You get it?
But do you remember that there's someone who spoke during that regime? The bishop,
the Archbishop,
yes.
Jordan. But he spoke. He still spoke. It doesn't matter whether you die.
Then he was put a pistol in the mouth.
Come look here. He spoke and he died, not so.
Yes.
But I think we are having a day. It must be in February something. Jonathan Lumu Day.
Yes, so we remember him.
Has he perished?
No, his memories are still alive.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
So therefore, what is wrong with that?
So for us to get religious institutions or religious leaders are keeping silent.
That is the problem. Because we said that why we would blame Lazarus at the gate is because he did not speak to the rich man.
Not that he
because if he had spoken of the law, the commandments of God alone, this rich man will never leave him on again.
Feel some,
because it's urged to love.
Yes.
So even us here, we would, because it was, the approach that our president took was different from the approach Julius took. According to what is written, it is here. They said in Tanzania, after this what happened, that Tanzanian commanders urged their president to respond in kind. So what happened with our commanders?
So in other words, it was the vice versa. For the Tanzanians demonstrated what we were supposed to do.
That's it. Because according to our national anthem, this is exactly what we would have done.
Instead, the Tanzanians did it.
But the Tanzanians, I read for you this. The Tanzanian commanders asked their president to respond in kind, and he agreed to mediation that was overseen by the then Somali president, Siad Barre. I think when you go to parliament, you see that road. It's called Siad Barre Road. We recognize him because he was there as a mediator for peace between Uganda and Tanzania.
During the time of confusion.
Yes. So it was this then, Siad Barre, that resulted in the signing of what we call the Mogadishu Agreement. The Mogadishu Agreement is signed in 1972.
The peace treaty.
You get it?
Yes.
So this Mogadishu Agreement, which stipulated that Uganda and Tanzania forces had to withdraw to positions that were at least 10 kilometers away from each other. These guys were, can you imagine Uganda now extending all their fronts, taking all to front line with a neighbor. In the national anthem, they are singing our love to our neighbors we give.
And they are singing
but in practice,
on every occasion.
Yes, and in practice, they are extending to the border points with Tanzania. And again, the Somali has to come in and say, people keep apart. And
a different nation. But what was misleading His Excellency? Was he driven by the fact that he had enough?
No, the problem was, I think what we call...
Or was driven by emotions, too much emotions?
No, we never, I told you it's a violation of the national anthem. We never respected it. And yet, if a president is to be sworn in, these are some of the tools of power.
Yes, they are given those instruments.
Yes, those are instruments of power.
That they speak of.
So don't just say, the national anthem doesn't concern me. Actually, I would propose for anyone that should lead a country must know the national anthem. Word by word, letter by letter.
Yes, and is able to explain and defend it.
You should give that examination.
Everyone protesting. I don't know how many, there are very many.
Yes, you remember Parliament, it may surprise you that even maybe in Parliament, they may not know the national anthem.
Very many.
You are legislators. Actually, would expect, this is what I would say, would expect to do all that we can do for the nation, just basing on a few things. You get it? We don't need to go beyond the motto of the country.
Yes.
For God and my country. We begin from there, and we can derive out from there. We move out from there, and then we get to move to the national anthem. This is our creed. You get it? Yes. Just like the Apostles' Creed. If you only feel everything that is just right within the creed, then you are pushed into righteousness.
And you're part of the family. You belong to the fraternity.
Yes. So that is what we get to look at. So what the president told them, the President Siad Barre, he told them that he told them to desist, to refrain from supporting opposition forces that were targeting each other's government. You get it? So we get to see that there was that kind of tense relation that was in between there. And I hear there is a lot. I remember they used to sing a song locally. I was young and I could hear people sing that song. Echambo byamini mukampala lwapita Nyerere mukazi we.
There's no translation also in my mother tongue.
You get it? So these guys said, you have a very tiny voice. If you were my wife, I would be training. So all this is all very interesting. We say all this, that we get, until you get to know where you come from, it is impossible for you to know where you'll be going next.
So at the end of the day, Nyerere, these forces came and overpowered. Overpowered.
Of course, now we get to see that because had denounced, Nyerere had denounced Amin's regime, we get to see Amin made repeated threats to invade
Tanzania.
Every time, I will. And what happened before all that was going on, but there had been a treaty which we used to call the East African Community. But within that same time, what happened? The relationship of Tanzania and Kenya also became worse, and the East African Community collapsed.
The East Africa was in
now each one was for his own.
That is still around 1972.
That's 10 years after independence. Trouble is becoming us, is befalling us.
And Amin starts the war.
You get it? So
started in the parliament.
It was then that we had the so-called the Kagera Salient. Logically, as I told you, the problem of the British and the German, actually it was logical, because by then, Idi Amin said, for sure there is no way you can say that the border point of Uganda should be Mutukula. He said the most salient feature, you get it, the best boundary that we can ever have, and it was safe, is River Kagera.
That is between Uganda and Tanzania.
Yes, and it was just a distance of 720 square miles. It's just a stretch of 720. He said no, it is, and actually the blame was, and that was Kagera River, 18 miles to the south. You get it? So what happened? That it should be placed under jurisdiction, maintaining that the river made a more logical border. That was, I think, a bright idea. And also, when you look on the other side, you get it. So at times I really wonder why politicians would, because if you have to see, actually, if you, from Dar es Salaam to the south, it's too far. Too far. Actually, there are people that live within that territory, and I'm so sure that maybe they may not even be able to reach their capital city. You get me? So now to them, they were saying, no, it would be better that I think it would have been even a point of discussion. And they said, no, I think Uganda, it would be better if our land extended up to River Kagera would be a better.
So that when for us to stop on this side, you guys could do that side.
Yes, they said that is a natural. So actually, the River Kagera was making a natural boundary between the two. But the German and Britain,
yes,
they had already discussed this. The British and the German colonial officials before World War I, they're the ones that had put this fake border point. Maybe they had done this to make us clash with one another.
Okay.
You get to see. So all this was the confusion that came in.
Colonialists.
Yes.
The imperialists.
The British and the German officials before World War I, they're the ones that put this.
In their meetings in Berlin.
Yes.
That's when
when they come here now, you remember that Tanganyika had been taken over by the Germans.
Yes.
And then
Uganda is under the
British. You get it? So now these guys come and negotiate and they say no. And remember, this was, you remember these guys just formed the companies and they would sell whichever. You get it? So, we get to see that this was the problem. We lost our love. We need to repent for sure.
We lost our
You're going to lose love. A person that would have given a banquet of flowers to the neighbor. Again, he picks on bombs that were not even made by us.
Made by us.
Maybe those bombs came from where?
from the colonialists. The same men they brought those people.
They bought their machines, and we are using machines, not our brothers. For sure.
Let them get themselves.
Are you seeing that? Those choppers, the aircrafts that were used to go and throw those bombs. Who made them? Maybe Russia.
And these are all men and women who sat in the Berlin conference.
Yes. European powers have been a hedge over our country. You get it? This is the trouble.
The mess we have and the disorganization we have. But don't you think that there was another force behind it? I mean,
like what?
Were there no foreign powers pushing?
I know. Actually, it is after. It is after. As I told you, that our men made repeated threats over Tanzania.
Yes.
And now.
And they're looking.
Yes. And remember, the Ugandan guerrilla. The Ugandan guerrillas had tried, but it was a bit strong enough. So now these guys now, they had to, Nyerere sponsored a conference.
Okay.
And within that conference, he called on the Ugandan exiles, and they had now to come. Even Tanzania accepted to give their army. They come, and then they overthrow the government here.
There's a rumor that spreads that Amin had a relationship with the Islamic units.
No, it's true that when the war intensified, Amin also sold, he had also partners that came in, like the Libyans came in. The Libyans came in, and he also got soldiers from PRO, that's Palestinian Liberation Organization. They also came in.
To give him a hand?
Yes, but the problem, by that, actually, they had staged Kagera. This Kagera.
Yeah.
Yes. What happened there, actually, even some Libyans died there. And actually, I think the last trip that the late Colonel Muammar Gaddafi came, that is the spot where he stood. Ever since he stood there,
he didn't return.
He returned. So, he returned, but I think that was one of his last trips.
His last trips to
Uganda. You get it. So,
but he also had this intimate relationship with Uganda.
That is
Gaddafi.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, during the 1979 war, you get it. He came in. He came in to support.
Wait, from 1972, Gaddafi was the president of Libya already.
Yeah, he was.
How old was Gaddafi when he died?
We'll discuss that next time.
Libya had one president all this time around.
Yeah. So now what happened afterwards? We get to see that now that is how there was the bleach of the national anthem in the second stanza. Remember, our emphasis is now. I think the first stanza had been left out. Yes. That's why we are sticking on free for liberty. You get it? But we need our people now to be free after they have known. Because the Bible teaches us that you will know the truth and the truth shall set you free.
Unless you know the truth, you're not free.
Yes.
So, pretend to be free.
Yes. So, once it is like that, so it is now the second point that we need to look at, that Uganda has been called production.
Okay.
You get it? And in production, we get to see that in the third stanza, we get to see
the third and the last stanza.
Yes. They say, "Oh Uganda, the land that feeds us by sun and fertile soil grown." That's what we are looking at it.
That is the fertility of Uganda.
Yes. Now, when we get look at this, when they get to say the land that feeds us, what does that mean? That means Uganda is not bound to import. You know, our president, our current president, I think one of the troubles that he has had with our people is that they want to Usaka. He uses always that word.
They want to watch the bed.
They want always to get from the neighbor. But according to the national anthem, we are not taught of seeking from neighbor.
We are taught of giving.
What we do is give. Actually, even in the second stanza, it is very clear. With love, we just dish. We dish out love.
We are the manufacturers of love.
Yes. And then to us here, when it comes now, here we are told, Uganda is the land that feeds us. We don't expect to get things from elsewhere. We don't have to eat tinned beef.
We are self-contained.
We kill our cows. We are like a rich man. They say, when a rich man wants to eat a liver, he'll just order his cow to be slaughtered. For him to get the liver, he doesn't have to go to the market to buy the liver.
He has.
You see that?
So that is the picture of Uganda.
That's the picture. And this is, now we are adapting this from the national anthem. We are not out of scope. We are not discussing anything that is out of scope.
Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us.
Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us.
By sun.
By sun and fertile soil. Are you getting me? When we look at that, this sun, you know, the sun determines the time, not so.
Yes.
So we get to see, actually, in Ecclesiastes 3, what is there? We are told there is time to plant. Because here we are told the land that feeds us.
Yes.
That means all of us are urged to plant. Are you getting me?
Uganda having when you talk of soil, I hear there's a period when the Israelites stepped down and to just pick a portion of our soil to take home.
They did that. And actually, that's why we say that if you're Ugandan and somebody asked you, what is the time? You get it? According to the scope of the national anthem, if somebody ever go to ask you what is the time, you just tell him it is time to plant. Every time. That's what, you know, and many people now just say, you people, you have a very good climate. Hey, they don't tell the truth.
They don't know.
Because we are to feed. Our land feeds us.
We are born to feed, to supply.
That's why somebody would just throw a piece of cassava cutting and then it grows into cassava tuber.
After 1 week.
You get it? But now see, the people that know very well that it is our land that feeds us, if they interact and then they allow GMO.
GMO, what
you
is
get
that?
it? GMO, this now crops, you get to grow things that don't produce seeds. Then you are falling off the scope. And you are getting out of the calling. You get it? Because now we have that law inside. You get it? Now you grow beans, you only grow, you cannot plant the beans that you have harvested. Are you saying that?
And their products, by the quality is not also that.
You know, now we are, as long as we go GMO, just know you are abusing the national anthem.
You are just changing the nation upside down.
Yes, because here we are told the land that feeds us.
We are fed by our own.
Remember how God made things. When to him he made, when he makes two, and he said these must reproduce after their own kind.
Yes.
If you dare to eat maize that does not have to plant again, then you are eating something, not maize.
You're going against the rules.
Yes. I'm getting me.
So, laws of nature.
It's not only that. So I tell you that the question here is now time. The time for Ugandans is to plant. That's why here we don't have an overall season. And many people now us about things these days. There is no season. You know, every time it is raining, you don't know the calling of the land. We are called on to production. Are you getting me? And this we saw that it was in agreement when we were looking at those that are birthed at night.
Yes.
You get it? And what did we say? We said that the world needs our skills. The world needs our production. And we're called to produce, export than to import. And you know what happened in 1972? During this time, US, because
United States of America.
Yes, they boycotted our coffee. They said we are not going to buy coffee from Uganda.
But what was the reason?
The reason as to why they never bought coffee from Uganda is that they boycotted. They said the reform, when we get sick, that Amin made an economic war.
Okay.
You get it? And I think this is also something that we need to throw more light on. And in it involved Southerners belonging to the Asian minority that were expelled from the country and their businesses were placed under the management of Africans. That would have, it looked like cool. But now we get to see that what was the consequence of the reform. When this was made, what happened? We get to see that United States boycotted Ugandan coffee on account of government failure to respect human rights.
But was United States the biggest market for our coffee?
Yes. And United States, United States. Says Papa. So they said, no more coffee from Uganda. And that brought Magendo. We have nowhere to sell. And remember, we are going to produce. So if anybody ever plays with the market for your products, then it's barring you. And I think this is why you say our president has been struggling too much and is trying to extend the market.
So there was a flooding of the coffee products in the market.
Where would you sell it?
The fellow Ugandans will not buy.
You get it? So that is one of the things that you get to look at. And as we also get to look at that, we also get to see that, so it is here that we need also to know very much well. Because here we are looking at the time.
Yes.
You get it? As Uganda. You know Uganda, we that are in East Africa, we have what we call the East African time.
East Africa, EAT.
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 You get it? East African time. And you know what is very interesting with East African time?
No, but it was before it was East Africa. Was it not having something like standard?
No, it is East African. The East African time is East African time. And it is plus 3 hours when you go to GMT, Greenwich. And when you go to, yes, and when you go to this other, there's what we call this other UTC, the Coordinated Universal Time. It is plus 3. Actually, it may surprise you that when you move from Uganda, as long as you cross to Rwanda, then that means you are 1 hour. Rwanda is 1 hour behind us. East Africa. You get it? But to others, again, it will be plus 3. Like now, what is the time? It is 5.
Yes,
when you go to London, it is 2.
Yeah, London is 3 hours behind us.
Yes. Are you seeing that kind of?
Yes.
You get it? So, it is here that we need also to see that other advantage.
Is that the same thing with the States?
No, parts. Because we have what we call, we have the Moscow time, that's Russia. It's different from ours. We have the Arabia Standard Time. It's also different from ours. You get it? And we have the Greenwich Mean Time. It's also different. Like you go to Accra, Ghana.
Yes.
You get it? They have different time. I'll tell you.
The Western.
Yes. And then we have the Eastern, the further Eastern Europe time. It's also different. China, Japan, different.
So there is diversity in time.
Yes.
Across the
then
world.
We have the Eastern Europe summertime. It's also very different. You get it? So in all of these that we need to look at, that we need always to know where problems began. And our key emphasis now, would we observe the national anthem
And obey it.
because we have seen how important that it is to us. if our members of parliament can only concentrate to implement what is in the national anthem, Uganda can become a superpower. Tell them that.
If we can only obey and respect what is in the national anthem,
we become a superpower.
Supremacy is our next.
You get it? Because we don't even remember what we said, that because the Asians, when they came here, we were growing cotton, but we were denied to make products out of cotton. And people got discouraged.
And Asians were sitting on top of that.
You get it? The colonials, they said, no, gin and cotton is only given to the Asians. And remember, by that time, cotton was as priced as oil now.
Was good.
Now tell me how much money could our people have made? But you know, all these confusions, we've been giving in them.
Was given to the Asians.
You get it? So, we need to take key observation of the national anthem. And all leaders that are aspiring offices of power, please, instead of you writing manifesto, you write what is out of scope.
Write what is in the anthem.
Just go and study the national anthem and implement what is there.
Study the Ugandan motto.
You get it?
Things are there.
And this is exactly what we should look at, because this is what we sing every day.
True.
And this is something that has been introduced to you even by the time that you even never knew English. We were singing the same thing. Oh, Uganda.
You say opposite. Because the English was just...
Yes. So it is after that when we get to pick out the most important points, the pillars that we need to build on, we can derive our pillars of development right, just clearly understanding the national anthem.
These are the two powerful instruments.
So we don't need your long manifestos.
I will do this.
No, they're not the manifesto. Because even whatever that you write in the manifesto, as long as it is not in line with what we were given at birth, just like your name, can you change your name? They just give you a winning, you may admire the different person, but you can't, because that's what you are given at birth.
And it makes me very unique.
That's it.
It is the only name that exists.
Even to us, that is exactly what we need to look at. Yes. Or Uganda, the land that feeds us. We are called to feed ourselves. Whoever that is thinking, I was watching one, yesterday I think, but one. I saw there is an Indian that is growing rice here. And he was very proud and he was sharing videos. Hey, we've just had our first harvest. This SWT is being grown here. But we need somebody else to come and grow food here.
Yet we are around.
Can't we grow? Because we are called to produce. Well, I don't blame anybody that can produce from here, because it's within the calling. So all that we need also to our brothers is that we need also to come up and produce.
The land is a natural fertile.
This is a warning to all businessmen that may think now, instead of them putting money, you businessmen that are buying rice from Tanzania, you grow rice here. We have swamps. Produce from here. When we take money from here to another country, and then you bring in food here, what we are feeding on in our houses, you are bleaching the national anthem. Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us.
By sun and fertile soil.
By sun and fertile.
As you conclude, there is this looting. You did the looting at the border, but here there's another looting that took place when he was chasing the Asians.
And what did we say? We said that in Galatians 6:7, what is written there, God do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is one. And after as we conclude, 2 Corinthians 9:6, it says, but this I said, he who soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly. So if you are to produce, don't produce little. Produce much. Don't only produce for your stomach or your little family, produce for the nation.
It's not for consumption. God bless you. This has been Free for Liberty. My name has been Winchworth Innocent. Thank you so much for watching us on Bedom Tingu Tingu. But is there a possibility of these things happening in the period of 10 years, as we compensate?
When we told you that we are 58 years, we are left with the 10. And we are discussing for you with what happened in the first 10 years.
First 10 years, we hope that whatever happened in the first 10 years don't happen in the last 10 years. Anyway, we wish you the best of your weekend. We are jumping to the weekend. We love you so much. We are hopeful that on Monday you will still be here with us. This program runs here every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. on this very platform. We thank you and we love you all. Enjoy your weekend and God bless you all.
God bless you. Catch your Monday.
Idi Amin Dada.
It's very interesting.
It's the only character in the movie. If you want to watch a movie. I think it was rebellious from childhood.